she really missed that opportunity of just being an innocent teenager and worried about what she was going to wear to school that day, you know? And so I think she felt robbed of that.
These photos of Virginia Roberts Giuffre were taken at various properties of pedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein. She was his most high-profile accuser, and her fearless campaign was instrumental in encouraging victims to come forward.
And I've been fighting that very world to this day, and I won't stop fighting. I will never be silenced.
In 2019, Epstein is reported to have killed himself in prison while awaiting trial on child sex trafficking charges. His accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, is serving a 20-year prison sentence for conspiring with Epstein to sexually abuse minors. Many of the perpetrators in their network have never been brought to justice.
I think it's important to note, like, the FBI and the DOJ in the United States holds the key to this entire investigation. My sister turned over numerous amounts of documents to these very departments, and which still haven't been released.
As a teenager, Virginia was fiercely protective of her younger brother Sky and always shielded him from the abuse she endured. But over time, she found her voice.
I'm really proud of her for telling her story, because so many times victims are silenced, and that's a repetitive pattern from abusers, is that they silence their victims, and I think she refused to stay silent and tell her whole story and the whole truth to the world.
In 2002, Virginia escaped from Epstein and Maxwell and found sanctuary in Australia with her husband and 3 children. Earlier this year, she was going through a painful divorce and struggling with her health when she took her own life at her farm near Perth. She was 41.
There wasn't any moment that she wasn't thinking about her children and how much she loved them. And I hope they know that more than anything else, is that she loved them and that she was fighting for them, even in her last breath.
Danny Wilson is still coming to terms with the death of his younger sister.
She was sad. She was incredibly happy that we were there when I came, and then when I left and my brother came. And I think that gave her some peace, but I don't think it was enough.
At the time, Virginia was working with writer Amy Wallace on her memoir, which was released last week.
It was wrenching personally between the two of us, in terms of her just being able to talk about the most painful things that have ever happened to her.
I mean, it was very difficult. It was very difficult to read. I mean, as the little brother and her being the protector, very difficult to read.
So I'm going to be transparent. I made it about 130 pages into that book and had to put it down. I'm not ready to absorb.
Reading it was so intimate, and not having her here, it was like speaking to her. It was her voice. It showed a side of her that we know, but that the public didn't really get to see.
But the thing about my sister that I love is she still pushed forward, and she didn't back down. And I think that a lot of people have a lot of adoration for her because of that. As the big brother, I was always like, okay, what after this person, are you done? Can you get out? And she said, I will never stop.
In her memoir, Virginia says she was abused by her father at the age of 7, a claim he strenuously denies.
I've known for a long time. I confronted him. That's the man that raised me since I was a year old. I wanted her. I asked her years ago. I said, "You're going after all these important, billionaires," and I said, "What about him?" And she said, "It's okay. I'm saving the best for last." And here it is, this many years later, she did.
Virginia was 15 when she ran away from home and lived on the streets, where she was exploited by a pedophile.
She was damaged very early as a small girl, and that affected what she felt that she could expect from the world.
The turning point in Virginia's life came when she landed a job as a spa attendant at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort at the age of 16. There, she met British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell, who offered to help her pursue a career as a massage therapist. She invited her to Jeffrey Epstein's mansion, telling Virginia he could help.
And that very day, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell begin sexually abusing her. And she describes the heartbreak of that, like just realizing, is that all anyone is ever going to want from me? So it's a very painful, separate and apart from the sexual abuse itself, it's a very painful moment for her where it's like the world just keeps telling her what adult men want from her and from children is sex.
Virginia's memoir details new allegations about the rich and powerful men she was forced to have sex with, including a violent encounter with a former Prime Minister. She says she was so badly beaten and raped by the man, she begged for her life. Her publicist and friend for many years, Dinny von Muffling, says the people who abused Virginia will be revealed.
I think that there's currently a fight to have some of her depositions unsealed, and it's looking like a positive direction.
In her own words, when she was trafficked, Virginia says she was habitually used and humiliated, and in some instances, choked, beaten and bloodied.
Every day that she was alive was a victory. That she had said to me before in a conversation is you feel like this shell of yourself. You're just going through the motions of the day and existing through it.
And Sky, a lot of Virginia's toughest moments, sometimes she thinks of you and the love she has for you. What's that like to read?
It's one of the most thoughtful questions I've had. It breaks me in a lot of ways. A lot of the details that were in that book are very close and personal. I know they're important to share because I'm hoping that in some ways it protects others that are out there.
One of the most high-profile men Virginia says she was trafficked to is Prince Andrew when she was 17. Despite denying the allegation and saying he didn't know who Virginia was, Prince Andrew reached a settlement with her in 2022.
The reason that he is important is because he is a person who is paying a price for hurting her.
Virginia always maintained this photo was taken the night she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew. He strenuously denied the claim, including in an interview with the BBC in 2019.
You were in Tramp nightclub in London, and she went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Didn't happen.
In her memoir, Virginia says she felt that Prince Andrew was entitled and felt it was his birthright to have sex with her.
He believes in the divine right of kings. He believes that he is above the law. He can do exactly what he wants and he will be protected. And that has been the case up till now.
In his 2019 interview with the BBC, Prince Andrew said he went to New York in 2010 to cut off contact with Epstein in person. At the time, Epstein had been released from prison after he pled guilty to soliciting prostitution from someone under 18.
Was that visit, December of 2010, the only time you saw him after he was convicted?
Yes.
Did you see him or speak to him again?
No, that was that. Funny enough, 2010 was it. That was it.
However, doubt has been cast on this claim after an email from February 2011 was recently published in a UK paper. Prince Andrew is alleged to have emailed Epstein, "We are in this together, and we'll play some more soon."
So, this contradicts totally what he was saying in public. And the same with Sarah Ferguson. And actually, I've shown that she was actually staying at Epstein Properties as late as 2014. So, I mean, they're complete hypocrites as well as liars. I'm glad that they've finally been caught out in some of these lies.
Further allegations now include that Prince Andrew passed on Virginia Giuffre's date of birth and social security number to his police protection in 2011 and asked them to investigate her. The Metropolitan Police in London have confirmed to 7:30 they are actively looking into these claims.
But I think the public mood, the evidence, I think, is there for him to at least be investigated. And I think if he's convicted, he should go to prison.
2 weeks ago, following the revelation, Prince Andrew gave up his royal titles and said, "I vigorously deny the accusations against me." Royal historian Andrew Loney says this may not be the end of the matter.
I think there are real plans now to actually take away not just his dukedom, but the fact he's called Prince Andrew. He will just be Andrew Windsor in future. I think he will be stripped of the Order of the Garter. I think he will be out of the line of succession, no longer a Councillor of State, no longer an honorary Vice Admiral. All those things need to go, I think, for justice to be served.
Virginia maintained that Epstein trafficked young girls to wealthy, influential people, in some cases to blackmail them. She says Epstein told her there were cameras in every room, particularly the bedrooms and bathrooms.
I don't know what the house looked like in Manhattan when they searched it, but the implication, and Virginia asked it in the book, is where are those videotapes? And if they exist, and if they've been safeguarded by the Department of Justice, then there is information there about who some of the people were that the girls were trafficked to.
Before he became president, Donald Trump hinted that there was a potential cover-up of Epstein's death in prison, as well as the existence of a list of high-profile clients of the sex trafficking ring. The so-called Epstein files include a range of documents from investigations into Epstein.
The Epstein files are not just, it's not a list. I think there's a misconception that there is a list of names floating around somewhere, and that's not it at all. The Epstein files are over 1 million pages of documents that were amassed by the FBI, by prosecutors, by other lawyers, based on interviews and investigations, and only less than 1% of those have been released by Congress.
Virginia's brothers are determined to continue her fight for others.
She never wanted the evil to touch us in this world, so, we've respected that, but now we feel like it's appropriate to come forward so we can help defend her legacy and kind of protect, because her voice isn't here, and so we want to keep her voice alive.
My dream now, going forward, is just being involved. Like, how can we help? And there's so many different facets of this, and I think, the journey is finding out where we can step in and help.